Good morning, everyone, and congratulations on your acceptance into the Battleground program. And this would be part of your basic training. So, one of the items that you have to discuss and deal with and work through is the team project, right? So, we wanted to give you a little heads up on what that is. And I made some notes here, so don't mind the shuffling of paper. We continually improve our process every cohort, and we have over time learned that our team projects are really important, but there's a core component that we want to discuss and that we really want to train. So we want to discuss that with you now. So as you go through your documentation, you're going to see that you have to figure out which training farm you're going to work with, right? So you as an individual have to decide whether um, you're going to work at Mesquite Field Farm or you're going to work with the Feet Farm with Heidi and Ray up by Fort Hood. So that decision can be made based off of proximity. You're closer to them or you're closer to me, or it could be off the revenue streams, right? You guys may see that Heidi does sheep and that's a revenue stream you want to go down the path of, but we don't do sheep here, we do livestock, or we do high tunnels. So you have some decisions there to make that will define which team you're on. The team projects based on each farm can be different, right? So Heidi may be working on improving her market garden or improving barns and how they handle sheep and they work sheep. So there's a workflow to that and how they move things in and out. And we have different projects here, so we might be working on a corral and how we want to move livestock through our farm and through the revenue stream. So that may be a consideration for you as well. So revenue streams could help define that. Once you've decided as an individual which farm you want to work with, then you're going to be assigned to a team, right? And then your teams have to work with the farm manager, see what projects are going to be offered during your cohort, and your team will choose a project. The projects will be made available by the farm manager. So in our case, I think this time we can do high tunnel management, we can do high intensity grass management, rotational grazing, or we could do livestock, or we could do poultry. So those options will be made available to you once you've been assigned to your team and decided which farm you're going to participate on. So the other key component that we want to do is one of the things that is a often overlooked revenue stream on small farms and farms in general is agritourism, right? So it's a key component. A lot of our graduates and a lot of people that we have worked with and interfaced with understand that farm to table dinners can provide a significant chunk of revenue to your farms. So we run these team projects as an agritourism business to teach you all those pieces you're going to need to do, how to develop the social media, how to develop all of the trifolds and literature that you're going to want to get out to guests, how to interface with local media, and how to plan for these events, such as where are you going to park people, what's going to happen in inclement weather, how are you going to feed them, and in the case of COVID, how are you going to socially distance them, how are you going to make sure that everyone stays safe while you're hosting your events. So you will learn how to do all of those pieces in your team project. And then you're going to have to deliver that, right? So you're going to have to do a presentation that defines what your project is, how you have developed the budgets for that, the social media, the marketing pieces for that. You'll work on that as a team on weekly calls or bi-weekly calls, whatever you decide with your farm manager, that will help you define the presentation and all of the cost benefit analysis and things that you would need to understand whether the event's going to be profitable and how you manage those pieces. So there's several things you're going to get, right? You're going to do a presentation. That presentation that your team puts together will be presented to the Battleground or Breaking Ground staff for several reasons. The first one is to let them know that you can develop and deliver a presentation. That will become quite a key component of how you run your business later if you are having to present something to investors on a large project or to farm service agency or someone that you are requesting funding from. You need to be able to deliver a presentation. And the third piece is to make sure that that project meets the requirements of Battleground, that you're actually going to learn a valuable piece of hands-on learning, right? So once you've planned for this event, you may only be hosting it to, you may be only hosting Battleground participants. It may not be open to the public. You may just be doing a hands-on learning event that takes 2 days, but that's up to the farm manager and your team. So y'all will define all of that. And then whatever that revenue piece is, that revenue generator or that new vertical business model that farm wants to implement, you're actually going to do that work, right? So you'll have to plan out with the farm manager the budgets for that. Where do the materials come from? For example, if we're going to do a class on how to pour concrete, we're going to bring in an outside company to teach that, or the farm managers have the experience to teach you that. You're going to have to budget for that. Where does the concrete come from? Where does the steel come from? Where does the wood for the forms come from? Where's the equipment come from? What's the cost of that? So you'll figure out all of those pieces and parts. So you're going to do the agritourism piece to develop the presentations and make it an event that could be open to the public or to just the Battleground participants. Then you're going to actually have to budget the project itself and understand how you would implement a project on your farm. So I hope that helps in the explanation of that, and how that looks in your paperwork that you're seeing as a new student in your basic training documentation. I'll take you on a little tour and give you some examples of what we're doing here to help give you an idea and explain some things. So in our high tunnel, we may decide to implement a whole new irrigation system, like that one you see up above there. We may decide to, after we've solarized the ground, to do drip irrigation. So that may be part of the project. Or it may be to set up the entire raised bed program and how we rotate our crops and produce through this tunnel. We could take on the management of a pasture like this one right here, where I've got cows sitting back here. We may get into how we cover crop that, manage the soil fertility, improve our grasses, improve our forbs to provide nutrients and microbiology back to the soil. It could be livestock handling, so cradle to grave, how we handle the husbandry of the animals, what was our breed decision, why we went down that path, how we rotate them, supplemental feed. Could be poultry, right? We could do Suscovich tractors and teach you how to build those, how to rotate them through with your livestock, how to improve your pastures there. So there's a lot of ways to do things, and a lot of different projects available. And the last team project and the last cohort decided that aquaculture was something that they wanted to go down. So we had some aquaculture things that we wanted to do on our stock tank. So we had the team develop a floating bed like you would see in a Japanese garden that could float on the surface of our stock tanks, and aerate that water to improve the water quality for the fish and the biology in the tank. So it'll be interesting. The projects are always fun. They are usually a lot of work, but it is fun. It's an educational experience, and I hope this helps. After you've gone through this video and looked at your documentation, if you see something that needs to be improved in this explanation, or something you want to talk about a little more or we need to expand on, please let us know. Have a great day and welcome to the program.